Welcome to Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander, where I give you my best tools, tips, advice, encouragement, my own experiences on how to master your mindset, on how to live more from a spiritual perspective, on how to really create the life of your dreams. I've been a business coach and life coach for many, many years now and worked with people all over the world. And it is my biggest pleasure to actually coach people through the issues that they're having. And if you've listened to my show before, you know that I love to laser coach people on the air. So I have an awesome guest today. Her name is Stephanie Piazza. I've known Stephanie for many, many years from our background in the fashion business. And I don't know what she's going to want to coach on today. So this is, an experience for me as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to laser coach her. And I encourage you to walk through the coaching as if it's you. Because what I found through so many years of being a life coach and business coach is we kind of all have the same issues. So whatever Stephanie's bringing forward, just think about it in your own world. Where does it show up for you? And walk through the process as if I'm coaching you as well. It'll be a little bit different, obviously, but the themes are the same to see how this can support you in your own world and how you're living your life. So I'm so glad you're here with us on Fun for Life Radio on the Dash Radio Network. And again, this is Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander. And I'm going to say hello to my guest, Stephanie Piazza.
Hey, Ariane, how are you?
Hi, I'm so good. Stephanie's in Florida. I'm in Los Angeles. We love technology. So thanks so much for being here today.
My pleasure. I'm so happy to speak with you. And thanks for the laser coaching.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I can always use it.
Of course. So Stephanie is a retail expert. She has been in the retail world of specialty stores in the fashion business for basically her whole career, over 25 years, I think, experience in this area. And she's an expert at helping specialty stores really understand how to build relationships with their clientele, how to create merchandising that's enticing for the store, how to do their strategy of products, all kinds of cool things. And what's your program called that you actually coach on?
The Retail Cure.
All right, cool. The Retail Cure. So I'm sure you have some issues, some questions around building your business. And because that's how I know you, is like this place of really moving forward in your business. So tell me, Stephanie, what would you like laser coaching around today?
So I'm always in retailers and I can do anything with them, talk through them with anything, and really guide them into a successful business. But this year with the pandemic, I've had to move to virtual, and going on camera or coaching via video, I've been struggling. And I'm not shy, but I feel like other people are judging me or looking at me, or I get mean. Sometimes I get mean, like, oh, you look tired. Oh, your hair's not done. Oh, you're whatever. But I think in my head, no, I'm here to help people. Like, I can't just be perfect I don't have that kind of time. And so I really struggle with it. And then on the other hand, I'm trying to teach my clients how to be more confident on camera because they have to do Facebook Live. So I want to be sure that I'm the best advocate for them. And then, of course, give them the tools like your course that has been extremely helpful to me, to build their confidence to go live. I think it's frightening.
Okay, great. Yeah. So Stephanie took my course, Lights, Camera, Cash, which is my video marketing course where I help people become confident on camera. And Stephanie's amazing, she's because I know Stephanie personally, and she's such a go-getter, and she's always just been out there and really doesn't have a lot of fear. But in this area, it's where you get locked up. And so even going through my course, which you did amazing in, it's interesting that these still come up for you, right? These thoughts of like, I'm not good enough. And what are people going to think of me? And I don't look good enough and all that. So I'm sure anyone listening can relate to this because it's all these judgments that we have on ourselves. And then when other people say them too, it's like, oh, it just doesn't feel good. It's the worst.
Honestly, it's depressing.
Well, it's so awful, but we'll talk about that too. So I just love that you're bringing this forward because to me, it's all about really standing forward in who you are and being visible. And it's a topic that really anyone in business can relate to. So thanks for bringing this up today. So tell me when you think about this visibility piece of really putting yourself out there, on video to reach this end customer since everything is virtual now. What are the thoughts that come up within you?
Well, I have two schools of thoughts on that. So sometimes I'll do a video. I'll take 90 takes to do the video, and then the video doesn't get done. And then that puts you backwards. You're not putting out any information to help anybody, so that I beat myself up with that. And then there's the days I'm like, F it, I'll just do it, and we'll see what happens. And I do notice that on the days where I'm taking the imperfect action, I'm getting much more tread. So that makes me feel great. But I'll look at the video and I'll be like, oh my God, you really did that? Like, look at yourself. You look terrible today. And I want to empower myself. I don't want to feel that way about myself, but we're our own biggest critic for sure.
Yeah, always. We're our own biggest critic for sure. And so, okay, cool. So you either do a video a ton of times and then it just doesn't go to completion because you're like, screw it. Or if you do it, it's kind of off the cuff and that does get traction, but then you're judging yourself the whole time of like how you look. Is that what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like, really interesting that there's just judgments on both sides and there's thoughts on both sides, like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. So true. And I feel like the days when some of the days when I'm prepared and I've done all my research and then I go live, 100 things, it doesn't sound right. I don't look good. The lighting's not good. There's an echo. Like, so, and I don't want to give that impression to my clients. I want them to know that I've got them and that I'm doing it. I want them to do it. Mm-hmm. So that they'll look to me for the guidance as well.
Right. Of course. Right. Because that's one of the things that you're coaching them on and helping them with is for them to be on video too. And really, right. This is, obviously I've coached video marketing and how to be confident on camera for years. And it's just a huge thing. It's, it's really challenging to put yourself out there this way, or it can be, let's say, because of everything that you're speaking about that comes up internally. So if we were to get underneath the hood of those thoughts of, let's just take a few of them. Like, I don't look good enough. What else did you say that the actual thoughts are and judgments?
Sometimes but I can't help it. Sometimes I sound very Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, but that's where I'm from. I know people are like, they're like, are you from New York? And I want to say, no, I'm from Texas or Tennessee or something.
No one's ever going to believe you're from Texas or Tennessee. So,
so you say.
Okay. So how you sound. Okay. What else?
And also, I want to make sure I am delivering the most empowering and powerful information so that they can use it to move forward in their businesses so that their small businesses can be successful. Because when I'm in their store and we do Facebook Lives or we showcase something or film it, I'm fine because it's not even for me. It's like nobody knows, and not that anybody knows me. Who knows me? I have some people who know me, but I'm not that famous. I don't know why.
So you'll do lives and videos in their store and that's okay. But when it's your stuff is when you get
correct
tangled. Oh, okay, good.
It's almost like I'm selling for them, right? Okay. It's almost like I'm in the store working for them.
Okay. I really understand this. I've gone through this myself. It's like, it's easier to do it for someone else because you're not as attached because it isn't your preciousness. And when I say preciousness, it's because we make it precious.
Yeah.
Right. So when it's your stuff and your knowledge and your wisdom, it sounds like it's precious. But when it's somebody else's, you're good at it. Like that expertise kicks in and you're like, I got this, I know this. And so it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's so true.
Okay, good. I've done that myself. Trust me. It's so much easier if I'm writing copy or like helping someone with branding. I'm like, when it's myself, I'm like, oh my God. Like, am I dumb? Like, do I not know how to write a freaking Instagram post? But when I do it for somebody else, one of my clients or help them with a copy, I'm like, oh my God, it's a breeze. So I got it. So when we're in our own head, around our own stuff. And this is, oh my gosh, for any of you listening, this is so important because this is where we get tripped up. When it's ourselves, we are so much harsher on ourselves than we are for the, everyone always says this, like, it's so much easier to love the other people in your life than yourself. Like I can give so much love to others. Why can't I give it to myself? It's the same essence. So it really, again, I'm a life coach. Like I like to dig underneath the hood and see what's really happening here. So when you think, I don't look good enough, I don't sound good enough, I sound like I'm from Brooklyn, like it's easier for me to do it for clients versus myself. What's underneath that? Like, what are the real fears that if I don't look good enough, then what?
So I often feel that if I look high, I mean, this always resonates with me. My grandmother was beautiful, and she always said, don't leave the house without an under eye concealer, a little blush, and lipstick. She literally said it to me always. How are you going to get a husband? Like when I was younger, I remember it. And she always had her hair done. She probably flips in her grave right now how many times my hair is up in a pony. She'd probably be like dying. But she'd always say, always to bring your best self. And I feel as a human, I always bring my best self forward and my heart. And that not that I don't care what I look like. I do care what I look like. But I guess in my head, I don't feel that I look that bad until people tell me I look that bad. And then I look at it until people are telling me.
And what's underneath that? So if I don't look good enough, then what?
Well, then I'm not delivering my very best self.
And if I'm not delivering my very best self, then what is that? How
can I serve my clients? How can I give them what I know that they need and truly are asking for?
Okay. And if I'm not serving my clients, then what does that mean about me?
Then I'm not doing my life's dream. I mean, this is all I want to do.
And if I'm not doing my life's dream, then what does that mean about me?
That I'll fail, and I'm never going to fail. Like, that's just not in my DNA.
Okay. And if I fail, what does that mean about me?
I have to start over.
And again, like, what are you really making this mean about you? If I fail and I have to start over, what story are you telling yourself about that?
So if my business fails, if I'm not able to deliver the excellence to my clients, then I have to go back to corporate America and live someone else's dream as opposed to build my own.
Mm-hmm. And
not that corporate America was terrible, but it wasn't. I mean, it was amazing. It served us well. I learned so much from it. I loved it. It's easier for sure. Not easier, but it's easier to have the paycheck come in every week as opposed to grinding, killing, and the not knowing and the inconsistency.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like and this is, I like to take, I have lots of different tools and techniques that I use with clients, but I like to take people through the kind of STEM sentences. If this happens, what am I telling myself about myself? So if you fail, quote, I'm going to put that in quotes, fail.
Right. And it's funny because my dad said, you never fail. You might fall. You don't look back, you move forward. So he would always be like, you didn't fail, you tried. And it maybe just wasn't the correct path. So now the journey is something else, and something else will work. And each time you fail, but he never used to fail, he'd say, each time you fall, you're learning.
I love your dad.
What did you learn today? Yeah, and you know him. He's a big advocate. He was the only dentist, the only one in his family to go to college. And he just knew, if you want to do it, you can do it, and you'll figure it out.
I love it. So for you, what do you make it mean about you if you, quote, fail?
So that's funny because this is true. I never look at myself like failing. I look at, it's funny. I said fail and I probably meant it, but I always am the person who is going to win or succeed or figure it out. Like somehow I've always found a way. And I think at this age, not to age myself, but I'm definitely in that 45 to 55 bracket box. And I think that that's what's so hard for me. And I should be like, I have more energy than most. I can figure it out. I'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. So I have to learn from whatever's not working and not really worry so much how I look, but more what I'm delivering. I'm in a book launch for Believe It for Jamie Kern Lima, and if you haven't read it, it's just amazing. I literally am like listening to all the things that you said, and I thought, oh my goodness, I would have crawled up under a rock by that point. And I'm glad that she didn't. So I'm trying to empower that self to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's what happens in our minds is we have our conscious. So what you're telling me is your conscious mind. Like what you're actually conscious about is, I know I need to deliver, this empowering message to my clients. And yet I still have these blocks of really showing up and fully, and then I don't feel good enough. And I don't think I look good enough. And I don't think I sound good enough. And so these are all conscious thoughts, which is great. What happens in how we actually create our world is more from the unconscious place. So think of unconscious and conscious as an iceberg. So the tip of the iceberg is above the water, and that's what you see. And that's what you think is reality. You're like, oh, there's the iceberg. So I always use this metaphor, and it's probably terrible, but it's like the Titanic is cruising along, and they're like, oh, there's an iceberg. And they like hit the top of the iceberg, but that's not what sunk the ship. What sunk the ship, it was underneath. It was underneath the surface. They couldn't see it. They didn't have the technology to see that the iceberg was freaking huge. And they ran into the iceberg underneath the surface way before they ran into the top point of the iceberg. Okay, now I wasn't on the Titanic, so I don't actually know that's true.
Thank God.
Thank God. But you can, if you watch the movie, you'll see. Basically, that's the unconscious. The unconscious is everything below the surface, and it's huge. And that's what's driving the show. So what I hear and what you're experiencing, and literally every client I work with, and myself included, you're so conscious of what's happening, yet you're banging your head against the wall because it's not the conscious that's running the show. It's this unconscious piece that's kicking up. Like it's past, and what the unconscious is it's past memories, it's past experiences, it's beliefs and limiting beliefs and ideas that got locked, stories that got locked in when we're very, very young. And we don't even know they're running we don't even know they're running the show, but they're running the show because I know you, right? Like I know you're like a go-getter, you're confident, you're a hustler, you're totally on fire. So this isn't a conscious thing because you're doing all the things. Do you see? Like you're doing all the things and you're aware of all your blocks. So it's clearly not that. Do you see? So
I know every day I have noticed. So I just started, like, Mel Robbins, she tells you, high five yourself in the mirror, which as ridiculous as that sounds. So I've been doing it every day, just like, hey, you did an amazing job today. You got that letter out. You did your website, you whatever, even if it's so small. And that has been a little bit helpful because, and my friends, thank God, are in my corner. Sometimes my family thinks like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like you left this 6-figure job. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure you heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's great that you found that you have some tools that help you, because basically that positive affirmation is so great to help us ingrain, to shift the inside, basically. So there's a few ways to kind of get underneath the surface of what's happening. And one of them is, I kind of like to flip things on its head in a way, because we're so busy trying to look good enough and sound good enough and not fail. But it's like, if you're actually creating all of your reality, if this experience of life. It's like, Stephanie, you're the star of the Stephanie Piazza movie. It's called the movie of Stephanie Piazza's life is the movie, and you're the star. And you've actually created all of your experience. And one of my teachers of spiritual psychology would always say, outer experience is a reflection of inner reality. Outer experience is a reflection of inner reality. So whatever's happening in our outer experience, which is our conscious world that we're experiencing, is always a reflection of our inner beliefs, thoughts, everything, the stories we tell ourselves. We're just projecting it out into the external world. So when you can really start to understand and look at life from that place, outer experience is a reflection of inner reality. It helps start to unwind and accept and have compassion for everything in your experience.
Okay.
So we're going to break this down further. I'm going to take a little break. And I would love anyone who's listening to get a pen and paper and walk through this with us, because it's really, really important and powerful. We're going to stop for just a break, and we're going to come back, and we're really going to get underneath the hood here of what this means and how you can work with this yourself, of outer experience as a reflection of inner reality, so that you can actually start to make some shifts within your experience. So we're going to hop on for a break. This is Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander. We are on Fun for Life Radio. That is just what it sounds like. Let's have fun for life. Why not? The world just went to hell in a handbasket. Armageddon / COVID.
Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun, y'all. And we're on the Dash Radio Network, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Fun for Life Radio, because sometimes fun is all the therapy you need.
And we're back. And be sure to check out all the amazing shows on Fun for Life Radio. My delightful friend, Pili Montilla, has an awesome show called Truth and Tunes, which is really behind the scenes, all about the music business. She's a cultural music expert and has awesome interviews with people from all over the world, internationally, all about music, production of music, has bands, has singers, has producers. So check that out for sure. And another great music show is the St. James Band Radio Hour, where it's an eclectic mix of tunes you're going to love. And everything's free on Dash Radio Network and Fun for Life Radio. It's free, so very fun. And we're back here with Stephanie Piazza. And we were just talking about outer experience as a reflection of inner reality. So how does this apply to what you're experiencing right now? So this part of you that thinks you're not good enough. So what we do is like, we want to make it go away, right? Like, oh God, I just want to not have that. I think I'm not good enough. I don't think I look good enough. Why do I have these judgments? Like, why can't I just get over it and move on?
Yes.
Right? Is that what you say?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I just want to get it and move on. Okay. So here's the trick. Here's the secret. You're actually creating all of this because it's your consciousness is creating the thoughts that say, I don't look good enough, as well as the thoughts that say, I look good enough. So it's not bad because it's all coming from you anyway, right? No one is implanting thoughts in your head that say, I don't look good enough and I do look good enough. It's all generated from your consciousness. And let's say you're unconscious. So the first step in this is having so much compassion for everything that you think and experience. So not making any of this wrong or bad or even needs changing. Because what happens is the minute I say something should be different, I shouldn't have those thoughts that I don't look good enough. And I should be able to get over that thought of like, I don't sound good on camera. Then I'm fighting with reality, because the reality is I have the thoughts that I don't look good enough on camera. And I have the thoughts that I don't sound good enough on camera. So if I'm saying something should be different, I'm basically negating this experience of life and kind of slapping life in the face saying, well, you're not good enough. You should be different. I know better. When you're creating it all anyway.
And I remember as a small child, like my family, we never missed mass. And I remember a million times hearing Father Parks talk, and he would say something like, you're created in God's image and he created you. You are all beautiful. And I went to Catholic grammar school, high school. Like, I truly believe that. That was ingrained in me. I don't know where it got lost. Isn't that funny? That because I do believe, like, everybody's pretty in their own way, and everybody has something to give, and there's something good about someone. And then when I don't feel it about myself, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah. So it's great you have that experience and that anchor point from growing up of having a point of view of yourself and others. And then it just gets muddled because then we have life experiences and again, like beliefs get locked in. And so the more, and I love that you brought that forward because, my background is spiritual psychology. And so the opportunity is to look at yourself through the eyes of spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just made, like you say, in the image and likeness of God. Insert whatever right, name you want to put in there, right? It doesn't matter. It's like, but you're made in the image and likeness of this source that is source, period. So think of it this way, Stephanie. The sun shining down on you every day. The sun doesn't shine down on you and go, well, she looks good today. She sounds better today. And it doesn't shine down and be like, well, we're not going to put the sunshine on her because she needs some concealer and some lip gloss. And she sounds like she's from Brooklyn, right? Like the sun, which is source, which gives us life. It doesn't care. It's not looking at you with any judgment. It's just like, here's this human being on the planet doing her stuff. Cool. That's what she looks like. That's what she sounds like. That's what she's up to. But as humans, we put all the judgments and the expectations and the should and shouldn'ts on top of it.
The other thing I know, and which is funny, right? I'm definitely outspoken. I'm definitely not an introvert. I'm an extrovert. And I do know that if I make more noise than others, or if I at least make more noise, 1% more noise, I will get noticed. And that, I know that it's like, you have to progress over perfection. And I was reading something the other day and I forgot what it said. It was like perfection. I forget who said it, maybe Tony Robbins or somebody said it. Perfection is the lowest form, like the lowest goal, because there's no perfection. I thought, well, that's amazing. Like, we don't think that way, right? We want to be a perfectionist. But there is no perfection. And that's what I'm literally getting myself through.
I love that. Right. I love that Tony or whoever said that of like perfectionism is this low energy form because it's a joke. And so I love that that's coming in for you. And so the opportunity is to look at every aspect of what you're doing with neutrality, because you see, when you start saying this is good and this is not as good, that's when we start to split the energy and split the thoughts. And that's what's going to trip you up every time. So the opportunity is to really start looking at yourself as, it's not that you look good enough or don't look good enough. Do you see? Because either side is a judgment. It's just the neutrality of, this is what I'm bringing forward today. This is how I'm moving forward on the planet. And the compassion, and back to this piece of compassion is, can you really have compassion for all these aspects of you? The ones that think you don't look good enough and don't sound good enough, and the ones that think you do look good enough and you do sound good enough. Can you have compassion for all of it because it's you?
Yeah, you have to learn to give yourself a little grace. I'm definitely trying to give myself a little grace, for sure.
Yeah. And so, in this moment, can you just take a deep breath into your belly? And everyone listening, just do it with us. Just take a deep breath in your belly and relax and soften in and come, like, breathe into your heart and really let your heart expand. And just watch all those thoughts as just thoughts. They're not true. They don't mean anything. They're just thoughts that float by. And in this more relaxed place of slowing down, can you just give yourself a little bit more compassion for that place within you that unconsciously thinks that you're not good enough, that thinks that you don't look good enough? Can you just have compassion for that younger version of yourself that just kicks up and is like, ugh, that's what I look like? Because this isn't the first time you've ever thought it.
No.
Right?
Funny.
So, right.
Yeah.
So this is the other part of what I coach on video is like, it's not video. Video is just reflecting these inner thoughts and beliefs that have been there our whole lives, basically. Like, this isn't the first time you've thought, I don't look good enough. It just might be the first time. It just might be more in your face and more conscious.
Right. Because when you see the videos or whatever they were, the 8-track reels or whatever VHS tapes that your parents had of you when you were little and growing up, it's like, oh my God, look how amazing. Look how fun. You're not even not enjoying it. You're enjoying that so much.
Yes.
You should enjoy it, but now, and I do think that, and I, listen, I'm no angel. I'm definitely one of the, sometimes that might have happened to me too. Sometimes you see someone, you're like, she's in front of like, the newscasters, in front of like millions and millions of people. You're like, she wore that shirt today? And I don't mean to say it. Like, but I would never write it to her.
Right.
I could never write it on her Facebook page or something and say it. I might be thinking, I might have thought it.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. And so basically anyone who's writing something or saying something, it's just a reflection of their own consciousness. And they're just reflecting what you've thought about yourself too, at some point. You didn't see what I mean? It's all a reflection. It's all a mirror of our own consciousness. And that's where this compassion comes in of, wow, like I'm actually creating this whole movie of my life. So everything, like you're writing the screenplay, the Stephanie Piazza movie, you wrote the screenplay and you're writing it every day. So whatever happens in your experience, you've written it into you've hired the extras, you've hired the supporting actors, you've hired the other stars, you've hired props, you've hired wardrobe and makeup and all of it for the Stephanie Piazza movie. And this is where this utter compassion comes in of, well, if I'm actually creating all of it, co-creating all of it with spirit, then like, it's okay. It's like,
I should be the star of it.
And you should be the star of it. It's your show. Yeah. Like it's the Stephanie Piazza movie. So yes, the star of the show is you.
I'm so glad you've been part of my movie.
I know. I'm so glad you hired me as a guest star. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yes.
25 years ago.
So is that helpful just to really like come to this place of compassion for everything that's happening?
And then when I find myself, which I'm working really hard not to, spiral down, but more to lift myself up each day. And I just do it. And each time it gets better, each time I know it gets better. So when I find myself in that place, I guess I should just stop for a couple of minutes, maybe walk it off or do something different or look at something that I really feel good about that will remind me of, oh, remember when you did this amazing thing? Remember how you felt? And I'm trying to get that back into my feeling and, like to remember that same feeling, whatever it is.
Yeah. And it's great. It's whatever tools you use to shift your state, shift your energy is powerful because it can be, going for a walk. It could be dancing. It can be, writing out, in a journal. It can be whatever it is for each of us. It's like when we start going down the rabbit hole, it's hard to get out of. But that's where coaches like me and other coaches, like we give our clients tools to actually support yourself in those moments. So whatever it is that helps you get out of the rabbit hole is what is necessary. And again, that's different for every person, but it's like changing your energy. And the first thing is like, remembering it's just thoughts. They are going to change. You know, we have 80,000 thoughts a day. If we believed all of them, we would literally go insane. So it's stepping back from this human form and like observing the human form of Stephanie that goes down the rabbit hole instead of thinking it's you going down the rabbit hole. It's like an old pattern. And when you can start to observe again through the eyes of spirit of like, there's nothing wrong here. There's nothing wrong. And having compassion, instead of fighting those thoughts and trying to make them go away, having compassion for the part of you that thought that of like, oh my God, that sweet young part of me that thought like, I don't look good enough and I don't sound good enough. Oh my God, how do I just have compassion for her ever having thought that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's helpful. And also, when I'm helping someone else, then I'm not even thinking of myself.
Yeah.
That's really true. Like when I'm in a store and I'm helping someone,
okay.
I mean, I don't care if I'm filthy, but if not.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I love that because the being of service is such a powerful piece of this because it gets us out of ourselves. We're going to talk about this, some things you can do to bring this back to yourself. I'm going to take a little break and I want to tell, and we'll come right back and talk about this. I love this. This is great, Stephanie. Thanks so much for being here. And this is, I'm sure anyone listening is getting a lot out of this. So thanks for being so vulnerable and showing up so fully.
Yeah, 100%. True.
And we will be right back. You're listening to Fun for Life Radio on the Dash Radio Network. And we'll see you in a minute.
Fun for Life Radio. If you never did, you should. Because these things are fun and fun is good. Dr. Seuss.
Okay, one other show that I love on our Fun for Life Radio Network is Hollywood Unfiltered with Dana Buckler. And he is all about deep diving into Hollywood. He's a movie critic. He talks to producers. He does behind the scenes in Hollywood. And, you know, I'm in Hollywood and I'm like, who doesn't want a little behind the scenes in Hollywood? So check out Hollywood Unfiltered on Fun for Life Radio. All right, we're back with Stephanie Piazza. She was just saying how she gets out of her rabbit hole of thoughts about herself when she's of service. And that's a big part of getting beyond yourself is how, you know, asking yourself the question, how can I be of service? And what I encourage you to do, Stephanie, is how do you be of service to yourself and others by being more visible? Because this is what's going to help you get over this. Because you said like, oh, when I'm doing for someone else, it's easy. When I do it for myself, it's hard. So this is where you want to separate yourself. Again, the human form gets caught up in the thoughts and the beliefs and the, oh my God, am I good enough? Spirit doesn't care. Spirit's like, do the work, help people, get out there, be bold, be visible, do what you need to do. So this is where, as you start to look at yourself through the eyes of spirit and disconnect from this, it's not disconnect, but it's just take a step back from the human form that the human, like this is where the compassion, how do I break this down easily? Having compassion for the human form that we always have these thoughts and beliefs. You might have the belief, you might have the thoughts for the rest of your life. I don't look good enough on camera. Do you see? Like, it's okay. But if you do it anyway, then who cares? But that's where the spirit comes in. That's where looking at ourselves through the eyes of spirit comes in. When you're looking at yourself through the eyes of spirit, you're not going to care that you don't look good enough because you're like, I got work to do. Armageddon just hit. COVID rocked our world. I don't have a lot of time on this planet. I gotta get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to overcome these thoughts and beliefs. So it's a mixture of this compassion for the human experience that has these thoughts and beliefs, and then disconnecting from that a bit and looking at yourself through eyes of spirit, being of service in a powerful way for your own work. But you see, when you look at it like it's not you, you're the vessel of spirit to bring this message to people across the planet, then it becomes so much easier.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
So how can you, in your words, put this in perspective in your life?
So I know that when I'm helping all of these small retailers, that I am making, I mean, I've seen it already, like I'm making a difference for them. And if they don't succeed, they're going to go out of business. And we don't want that. So at least if I'm there to help them, that will like be like my guiding light. Like, so my trail is all these small businesses. How am I going to help them? And not even worrying about myself, you know, not worrying about what I look like or whatever. And because, you know, I am enough, I do look good enough, and I'm just there to help them. I'm not there to be like a beauty queen.
Yeah. Right. And that's where the spirit comes in of like, this human form isn't here to be the beauty queen. This human form is here to help people not go out of business and be able to feed their families and make a living. And that is like, oh my God, that's the highest form of service. You're helping people survive and thrive. And nobody cares what you look like or what you sound like if you're helping them thrive.
Right. That's so true. And I shouldn't even care. Like, why would I care if I'm helping someone else? What do I care? I'm the one who's beating myself up. I mean, obviously after, a few posts or whatever that you see and you just delete them. I think in my head, like, why would someone even write that? That's it. I always think that I would never write that to someone. Never.
No, but again, like those mean comments are just a reflection of their own consciousness. And so it's like, I know it doesn't feel good, but it's just like having compassion for like someone that I would actually take the time to write something mean. Like, that's sad. That person's really sad in their head. Do you see, again, it's like compassion for all of like, they're not doing anything wrong. They're doing what they think is appropriate, which is being mean to somebody else. Because in their world, that makes sense.
Or they think they're helping me. No, I mean it. Like, maybe they don't mean it, because some of the people are like my lifelong friends, and I don't think they think that they're hurting me. I think they're more like trying to help me from a distance.
Oh, that's funny.
Then, they're not on video or, whatever.
Right.
And so they probably have never heard it. They're probably
that
like,
funny.
Maybe a little under eye concealer.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah. So for their perspective, they're being helpful. Great. So again, compassion, like you're not asking for anyone's advice, but like people like to give their advice and, compassion.
Right.
So for you, moving forward, what kind of thoughts and point of view shift is going to support you in continuing to be uncomfortable in being visible? Like, it's going to be, and let's just be clear, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's no easy ride to being visible. No one gets a free pass. I'll give you a perfect example. This is my metaphors are so dumb, but I love them because I just make them so much. So I love me some Justin Bieber, baby. I love me some Justin Bieber.
You do?
I do. I love Justin Bieber. I love his music, and I love him even more because he's so vulnerable now. He just like shares like all his like challenges.
Yeah.
So he has this song called Lonely, and the lyrics are all about like when you're famous from an early age and everybody knows your name and you have it all, but you have no one to call. So he's saying like, I have it all. I had it all. Like at 13, like I had it all. And everybody's looking at him, right? Like everyone's looking at him like he has a perfect life and it's amazing and because he's got the money and the fame and And he's like, in the song, he's like, and I had no one to call. And that's lonely. Okay. So point is that it's all made up of like, you think that you're going to get something by doing what you do. Like you think, like, I guess how am I saying this? Like even Justin Bieber doesn't think he's good enough. He's like, I had it all. And like, everyone sees that I fell and I've had problems and and I'm still lonely. And like, it's not good. So even he has the thoughts of like not being good enough. And like, what's like, I thought everything would be great. And then it's not. And this is what happens with celebrities all the time, because the thoughts are always going to be there. I'm not good enough. It never ends. So what I'm saying
that's
is,
a good one.
Do you see like the thoughts might always be there, But it doesn't matter, because when you are being of service from this human form, from this spirit, these eyes of spirit, you're going to move forward and you're going to still help people.
Right. And my like literally my fire, my forging, whatever it is that launches me will be that if I don't show up, I will not be able to help someone and they will fail. And I cannot live with myself with that. Like, I don't want that.
Yes.
I want it to be that they are successful, and I would be absolutely overjoyed to be that I was the person that helps them.
Yes. 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 And when that's your driving force, that's going to support you in showing up more fully. And that's, again, where this disconnect of like the human form is always going to have the thoughts, I'm not good enough. I don't look good enough. I don't sound good enough. What are people going to think of me? That's the little tiny small human form. But your human spirit is way beyond that. Your human spirit is the sunshine that shines down across the world every day to support people and help people. So that's where this place of like, okay, I might still always have the thoughts, I'm not good enough. Okay, cool. But today I'm going to make a video.
Exactly. And what did you teach us? How our 2 million year old brain wants to protect us. Don't go out of the cave. There's a lion out there.
Yeah.
And he's going to eat you. I feel like that's like, oh, don't go on video. People are going to be mean to you. Don't go on video. And then I'm like, I'll take 20 takes, and that's even a waste of time. And I don't want to waste time. I just want to show up, show them, matter to them, and, bring some goodness into their world and your world or whoever's world I touch.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're bigger than you are, right? Nobody knows me, but whoever knows me, those are the people I want to touch.
Right. Right. Good. This is great. So cool. So yeah, this place of being I love this. I love this. And what Stephanie's referring to is our brains haven't evolved from the minute we became humans. And so in our DNA, we go into fight or flight so easily. Like, we always think a tiger's chasing us. So when someone goes to be visible and really put yourself out there through video or whatever it is, then your body can easily go into fight or flight and be like, oh my God, this is so important. The stakes are so high. Oh my God, there must be, and the mind thinks there's a tiger chasing you, because we don't know the difference. Because in the past, we used to have to run from tigers to survive. Well, obviously we don't do that today, but our minds don't know the difference. So the mind can equate being visible and putting yourself out there to having a tiger chasing you. So the more you can understand this and like have compassion for the human experience that wants to freak out and think this is the most important thing on the planet when you start to be visible, which it's not, but we think it is. So, all right, we've talked about a lot of things. So I just want to, again, kind of reflect clarity to you. Like, what are you clear on of how you can show up differently for yourself?
So the fact that I'm here to serve and that I'm making a difference, to just show up and show them, and that it doesn't matter. I'm being of service and I'm overjoyed to help them. That will literally forge a very strong path for me. And also that, to disconnect from that human form, that I'm just the vessel, disconnect from it, that you are the force to help people just in this body, and I shouldn't be so judgmental about myself. Giving myself a lot of compassion and grace is really super important.
Yeah.
And I should be proud of myself that I'm creating this and that I have created it. Like, I have done, amazing things in person, and it's just like a new way to learn, a new way to touch more lives as opposed to one-to-one. Now I'll get to touch many. Yeah. Like, that's this new reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. So what are clear next steps for you?
So more videos, more. And I've been doing, I try to do a video every day. I'm going to do more. I'm going to try and do them in more different platforms. Maybe it's 2 videos a day or 3, something like that, because the more I do it, the more comfortable I get. And let's say the louder the noise I make to help people will silence the noise inside my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And I love to create my own world and be my own star, because you're right. You know what? In that movie, The Holiday, remember?
Uh-huh.
She says, I should be the star of my own movie and not I can't remember the exact line, but she says something like the step in or whatever that position is.
Stand in,
right. You should be the star of your own movie. That's so true. And we're all in our own movie.
Yeah. 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 I love that. Be the star of your movie instead of the stand in. Thanks, The Holiday, for that little nugget. I love it. Okay. This is great. Well, I am just showering you with so much compassion for this human experience. And I see your light and your brightness and what you are here to do in such a powerful way to serve these people across the planet that need your help in, continuing their retail sales and continuing their businesses. And so I'm so grateful for you being here and for you showing up so fully and being so vulnerable. And I can't thank you enough. So awesome,
Thank you.
Stephanie. You are so welcome. And I just want to reflect also the opportunities, because this has been a powerful conversation of really the biggest thing is compassion for this human experience for all of us. No more shoulds, no more stop shoulding on yourself. Be in the moment of like that it's all okay and it might not feel good, but can you have more compassion and acceptance for the moment? And that's what's going to shift it into the next moment. So that's what I encourage each of you to do, is be really in your compassion for this human experience and accepting, and that will lead to the next moment. Also, just really understanding your thoughts are just thoughts. You can look at your thoughts from a distance instead of grabbing onto them and believing them. You can look at your life from the eyes of source, again, spirit, God, sunshine, whatever you want to call it, that when you look at your life through the eyes of source, you're going to be so much more compassionate and loving for this human experience. And to always remember to be of service, that service is the highest form of like energetic on the planet when we're of service for others. So if we can just remember that and be in that being of service mode instead of being in myself of fear of being visible mode, that's what's going to pull you through always. So really, really good nuggets here today, Stephanie. I just thank you so much for being here. And and I continue to watch you soar. It's really exciting.
Thank you so much, Arian. I really appreciate it. And you're amazing as always.
Thank you.
I'll be sure to share your radio station, your podcast with everyone.
Yeah,
Make sure
radio
to
show.
Send me the link. Please send me the link.
Yeah, of course. I'll send you everything. And this, perfect. Yeah, we're Fun for Life Radio on the Dash Radio Network. And this is Rock Your Life with Arian Alexander. And I'll talk to you next week.
There you go again, bringing me down, making something